This is the second day of our 9-day Holy Land Discovery Tour. We've left Caesarea and now heading for Megiddo to the northeast. So far it had been excellent with just 17 of us plus Ellie, our tour guide who is an archaeologist of the government. Normally there would be about 40 tourists in one tourist bus, which makes it harder to control.
At Megiddo, or as it is also known, Armageddon, the final battle to end all destruction and persecution will take place. After a quick conquest, Megiddo fell and became a part of the lands of the tribe of Manasseh.
Then, after you smash it, you put it in a sack and then you press it when it's on the sack. No, but this is the factory.
Megiddo is known for its historical, geographical, and theological importance, especially under its Greek name Armageddon. Evangelical Christians believe it will be the site of the final battle between Jesus Christ and Satan, as outlined in the book of Revelations. Armageddon has become a byword for the end of the world. According to the book of Revelations in the New Testament of the Bible, Armageddon is the prophesied location of a gathering of armies for a battle during the end times, variously interpreted as either a literal or a symbolic location. The term is also used in a generic sense to refer to any end-of-the-world scenario. This site was inhabited from approximately 7000 to 586 BC. Approximately between 1479 and 1425 BC, the city was subjugated by Thutmose III. A lot of the historical sites which we went to would have been better appreciated had we researched on its significance before we left. Some of our companions were even quoting passages from the Bible. Tel Megiddo, or Mount Megiddo, is not actually a mountain, but a tel, which is a hill created by many generations of people living and rebuilding on the same spot. The ascent was not actually as steep as the descent because we were at a much higher place. The only problem was that we've already done a lot of walking. January, or even a colder month, is a must if you want to see this place. This is actually just a precursor to the more historical places we will be visiting, particularly Jerusalem. And that's our super grandmother companion doing her share of the hiking.
Where that was found.
I just want to tell you something, that we're going up to Mount Carmel because we're talking about you're very nice, very kind to me, so I must tell you.
It's a monastery.
Yeah, there's a monastery there.
Are there some nuns there?
I don't know if you...
Since the Carmelites are a contemplative order, you can only see them if you know them in a private room and separated with grills. They are different from the active orders which can be seen outside of monasteries in service of the needy. Mount Carmel is a coastal mountain range in northern Israel, stretching from the Mediterranean Sea towards the southeast. It is a part of the district of Haifa. The Order of the Brothers of the Blessed Virgin Mary of Mount Carmel, or Carmelites, is a Roman Catholic order founded probably in the 12th century on Mount Carmel in the Crusader states. The Crusader states were a number of mostly 12th and 13th century feudal Christian states created by Western European crusaders in Asia Minor, Greece, and the Holy Land. This is the Carmelite Nunnery at the New Manila in Quezon City in the Philippines. The Carmelite order is not only composed of nuns but has a family of friars, lay people, and bishops, among others. This is from the rooftop of the Carmelite convent in Moraca. The order was founded in the 12th century by a monk named Berthold.
And everything is very close.
And there's no street at the time?
No, it was a path, not a street like today, you know, it's different. If you look, you can see between the bridges some line, like a snake.
So people were walking.
This is the stream of Kishon. The stream of Kishon, this is where Elijah killed the Baal prophet, okay?
Haifa is the third largest city in Israel after Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. It has a population of about 280,000. Immigrants from the former Soviet Union constitute 25% of Haifa's population. During the British Mandate, Haifa rapidly became Palestine's main port, naval center, rail transport hub, and oil terminal. The Technion Israel Institute of Technology in Haifa is a major factor behind the growth of Israel's high-tech industry and innovation.
That building there is the University of Haifa, and if you look down below you can see the harbor of Haifa, and the bay of Haifa is just beautiful. And the other side of Haifa is the city of Akko.
So modern.
Yeah, of course modern. We are in the modern state, not camel on the road.
That's right.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Like they say, the Philippines is like a jungle. It's not a jungle.
The University of Haifa was founded in 1963. It has a population of 18,000 undergraduate and graduate students. Anywhere in Israel, the etiquette is avoid politics. Unless you know someone well, it usually pays to avoid expressing an opinion on the conflict, or at least consider your audience when doing so. Orthodox Judaism, Islam, and almost all of the Holy Land's Christian churches adamantly oppose homosexuality, so it's appropriate to be circumspect in religious neighborhoods. The enclosed video of the rocket attack from Lebanon was taken from outside the Baha'i Gardens in 2006. Hezbollah, or Party of Allah, is a Shia Islamist political party and militant group based in Lebanon. Hezbollah was conceived by Muslim clerics and funded by Iran primarily to harass the Israeli occupation. Hezbollah waged a guerrilla campaign in South Lebanon, and as a result, Israel withdrew from Lebanon in 2000. Hezbollah's military strength has grown so significantly that its paramilitary wing is considered more powerful than the Lebanese army. Hezbollah not only has armed and political wings, it also boasts of extensive social development programs. We're now approaching the entrance to the Baha'i Gardens, or the Hanging Gardens of Haifa. The terraces were opened to the public in June 2001. The Baha'i faith is a monotheistic religion that emphasizes the spiritual unity of all humankind. The mansion of Baha'i is where Baha'u'llah, founder of the Baha'i faith, died in 1892. His shrine is located next to his house. The Baha'i faith was founded in 19th
century Persia. There are an estimated 5 million Baha'is around the world in more than 200 countries.
City music.
Yes. Different kind of religion, different kind of people.
Haifa's terrain, as we can see, is mostly hilly. This will be the kind of terrain we'll be seeing all the way to Nazareth. In 1948, much of the city's Arab population were expelled or fled. Today, Haifa's Jews, Christians, and Muslims live side by side, largely in harmony, and the city is proud to serve as a model for Jewish-Arab coexistence. The common Israeli saying, Haifa works, Jerusalem prays, and Tel Aviv plays, attest to Haifa's reputation as a city of workers and industry.
Nazareth is the capital and the largest city in the northern district of Israel. Nazareth is known as the Arab capital of Israel.
In 2015, its population was 75,000.
The population are predominantly Arab citizens of Israel, of whom 69% are Muslims and 31% Christians. According to the book of Luke, Nazareth was the home village of Mary, as well as the site of the Annunciation, which was when the angel Gabriel informed Mary that she would give birth to Jesus. In the New Testament, the town is described as the childhood home of Jesus, and as such is a center of Christian pilgrimage with many shrines commemorating biblical events. According to the Gospel of Matthew, Joseph and Mary resettled in Nazareth after returning from the flight from Bethlehem to Egypt.
Being a Sunday, it's a good thing attending Mass is part of the tour itinerary, even if not all our companions and tour guide is Catholic. We're about to enter the Basilica of the Annunciation.
The church was established at the site where, according to Roman Catholic tradition, the Annunciation took place. Greek Orthodox tradition holds that this event occurred when Mary was drawing water from a local spring in Nazareth, and the Greek Orthodox Church of the Annunciation was erected at that alternate site. The first shrine was probably built sometime in the middle of the 4th century.
The current church was constructed in 1969 over the site of an earlier Byzantine era and then Crusader era church.
Here it is believed the Archangel Gabriel told the young Mary, aged about 14, that she would become the mother of the Son of God. And here Mary uttered her consent. Let it be done to me according to your word.
I just wish that I could let
The outcome of Mary's consent is carved in Latin across the facade over the triple doorway entrance. The Word was made flesh and dwelt among us.
Inside, the lower level contains the Grotto of the Annunciation, believed by many Christians to be the remains of the original childhood home of Mary.
When it comes to Christian pilgrimage sites, there's no better place to begin than at the beginning, in Nazareth.
In the Abrahamic religions, Gabriel is an angel who typically serves as God's messenger, and it was here that Archangel Gabriel told Mary she would conceive and give birth to Jesus. We were able to hear Mass at the church, which was a treat for us.
Minutes, 30 minutes or something like that, because we are driving to the east. But bless that country. Here we can see the villages around Nazareth and the hills of the Galilee. This is the Galilee.
The transformation of water into wine at the wedding at Cana is the first miracle attributed to Jesus in the Gospel of John. In the Gospel, Jesus, his mother, and his disciples are invited to a wedding. And when the wine runs out, Jesus turned the water into wine. The location of Cana has been subject to the debate among scholars and archaeologists. Several villages in Galilee are possible candidates. While in Cana on a second occasion, Jesus learns of a boy who is very sick, at the point of death. The father hears that Jesus has come to Cana. So the man travels from his home in Capernaum to Cana. The grief-stricken man urges him, "Lord, come down before my young child dies." Jesus responds, "Go your way, your son lives."
Christ's attendance at the wedding feast and his divine intervention to rescue the host from embarrassment are taken as setting a seal on the sanctity of marriage and on the propriety of humble rejoicing on such occasions. It is also seen as an argument against teetotalism. There has been much speculation about where Cana might have been. In his Gospel, the author makes no claim to have been at the wedding, and the Gospel is not a reliable topographical source. Many would regard the story of the wedding at Cana as of theological rather than historical or topographical significance.
Tabgha is the name of a site where Jesus appeared after his resurrection and where he multiplied loaves and fishes to feed the crowds gathered to hear him teach. The name Tabgha has its roots in the Greek term for 7 springs. In 1596, Altabiga was part of the Ottoman Empire with a population of 44. In 1922, Tabaga had a population of 175. Tabgha is the traditional location for the calling of the disciples. It is believed that here, Jesus walked along the shore and called out to Simon Peter and Andrew, who were casting their nets into the lake. Walking along, Jesus saw 2 more brothers, James and John, who were preparing their nets. Jesus called all of these men to follow him. It is also remembered for the 3rd appearance of Jesus to his disciples after his resurrection, when he tested and commissioned St. Peter as leader of his church.
You're wrong.
Sitting down.
No, you for sitting.
Toilet.
No. I will tell you the answer.
Okay.
This stone is the stone that using for to baptize.
I was going to say that.
I know that. I know you. I really. Holy.
That's amazing.
And why that stone is very interesting stone. It's not just smooth because
One piece.
that stone baptized adult, not a baby.
Wow.
And that stone is from the 5th century. So this is the beginning of the Christianity in the Roman Empire. So looking here, we can see that, and if you look at it, you can say, oh, what is this two stone? This is olive press.
Olive press. Olive what?
Okay, how you make olive oil? You take the olive, you put the olive here, By that stone you smudge the olive. You put that olive on the sack, and that sack you put in here. And then you smash it this way. And then all the olive come from this small channel inside. And then you collect the olive oil, and the black water down below you throw it, and the olive oil is collected. It's 20% it's olive oil, 80% it's black water. Okay, this is what you have in the olive. It's mean when you press the olive, it's not 100% olive on the olive fruit. No way. Okay, and then the olive all the time on top, and you collect it, put it on jar. Church, and then we have the big one that was built here. Okay, so this is the Byzantine church, the atrium, the basilica with the apses.
On 2015, a building next to the church was damaged by an arson attack by Jewish extremists. Hebrew graffiti with the words "false idols will be smashed" was sprayed on the walls. In the same year, 4 Israeli Jews aged 18 to 24 and a minor were arrested by the Israeli police.
This crude black stone beneath the altar was once a large table-like rock upon which Jesus was thought to have placed the loaves and fishes.
One of the main highlights of the church are its restored 5th century mosaic. These are the earliest known examples of figurative floor mosaic in Christian art in the Holy Land. The Church of the Primacy of St. Peter is a Franciscan church which commemorates the spot where Jesus reinstates Peter as chief among the apostles.
The church contains limestone rock in front of the present altar, which is venerated as a Mensa Christi, Latin for Table of Christ. Traditionally, this is a spot where Jesus laid out a breakfast of bread and fish for the apostles and told Peter to feed my sheep. The third time he appeared to them after his resurrection.
It is disputed whether this table or the one enshrined at the nearby Church of the Multiplication is the one mentioned by the pilgrim Egeria. There's also another table at the Mensa Christi Church in Nazareth.
It's around 20 kilometers from the west in the east. In the right side, it's around 12 kilometers, I think.
Ellie, how far do you know we get to Africa?
To Africa, by fly or by walking?
Capernaum was a fishing village established during the time of the Hasmonean between 140 and 116 BC. It had a population of about 1,500. Archaeological excavations have revealed 2 ancient synagogues built one over the other.
A house turned into a church by the Byzantines is said to be the home of St. Peter. The village was inhabited continuously from the 2nd century BC to the 11th century AD, when it was abandoned sometime before the Crusader conquest. Capernaum was the center of the activities of Jesus in the Galilee and his town during that time. Jesus taught in the local synagogue.
On that stone, we have the Star of Solomon and we have the Star of David. You see the Star of David here and the Star of Solomon here. What it means, that symbol in that time? What do you think? What we have in that stone, it's very, very interesting. No, not just a pillar. What we have below it?
A star.
No. No. No.
Starfish.
What are you talking about? What's happened with you?
Oh, the cargo. It's a wheel.
It's a wheel. You
Oh, it's a wheel. Oh.
It would be beneficial to open the Bible before joining a tour such as this.
From the emperor, you have the grapes going out. Also another symbol, okay?
These are the olive.
A Star of David, a place where you're pressing and you have, okay? How you're grinding the seed of the wheat. You make a flour, then you make a bread. Yes, and this is take us to the 2-3 century AD, 4th century AD.
This partly reconstructed synagogue is believed to have been built on the foundations of the synagogue in which Jesus taught. It was in this synagogue that Jesus gave the Sermon on the Bread of Life. Dating the synagogue has been problematic since the synagogue Jesus knew was built of black basalt rock and now lies beneath is a more recent construction. The village prospered in the Roman and Byzantine periods, and its citizens were mainly fishermen. Capernaum was partially destroyed in the Persian conquest in the 7th century AD. The synagogue and church were destroyed in the Arab period, which was from the 7th to the 12th century AD, but the village continued to function for some time. It then was totally ruined. In 1894, 2/3 of the area was purchased by the Franciscans. The other third was purchased by the Greek Orthodox. Peter was also known as Simon Bar-Yona. The 5th century AD church was built over St. Peter's house. It has the shape of an octagon, which was typical of early churches and structures. In 1990, a modern church was built over the 5th century church over St. Peter's house. Through the glass window or floor, you can see the house of St. Peter and around it the octagon church.
Saint Peter is also known as Simon Peter, Simeon, or Simon. Peter thrice denied Jesus and wept bitterly once he realized his deed. According to Christian tradition, Peter was crucified in Rome under Emperor Nero Augustus Caesar. It is traditionally held that he was crucified upside down at his own request, since he saw himself unworthy to be crucified in the same way as Jesus.
In a nearby restaurant, we were informed that this was the kind of fish Jesus fed in the miracle. The Mount of Beatitudes is where Jesus is believed to have delivered the Sermon on the Mount. The Church of the Beatitudes is an octagonal building built in 1938 for a Franciscan order of nuns.
The Beatitudes are 8 blessings, which is a proverb-like proclamation without narrative, cryptic, precise, and full of meaning. Each beatitude consists of 2 phrases, the condition and the result. On the other side of the 8 beatitudes are the 4 woes, written in St. Luke's Gospel.
The term beatitude comes from the Latin noun beatitudo, which means happiness. Jesus taught orally rather than by writing. Matthew notes that he sat down before speaking, a typical Jewish position for teaching. It is possible that this is the actual site of the Sermon on the Mount, but is not terribly likely. There's no specific evidence for identification of the site before the 4th century, but it is reasonable to place the sermon here since Jesus was based in Capernaum, not far away. The Jordan River, or the River Jordan, is a 251-kilometer long river in the Middle East that flows roughly from north to south through the Sea of Galilee and on to the Dead Sea. The surface of the Dead Sea, at an elevation of about 430 meters below sea level, is the lowest land point on Earth. It lies in a structural depression and has the lowest elevation of any river in the world. The river has a major significance in Judaism and Christianity. This is a site where the Israelis crossed the Promised Land and where Jesus was baptized.
The Yardenit baptismal site is located along the Jordan River in the Galilee region of northern Israel. It is frequented by Christian pilgrims. The site is located south of the river's outlet from the Sea of Galilee near Kibbutz Kinneret, which owns and manages the site. According to Christian tradition, the baptism of Jesus took place in Qasr el-Yahud, north of the Dead Sea and east of Jericho. For centuries, Qasr el-Yahud was the most important baptism site for pilgrims, but reverence shifted to the West Bank after the Muslim conquest. After the Six-Day War, Qasr el-Yahud fell under Israeli occupation. Due to military activity and excavations, the Israeli Ministry of Tourism established Yardenit in 1981 as an alternative pilgrimage site. Qasr el-Yahud reopened in 2011. We're waiting for some of our companions to be baptized. They're purchasing and changing to the clothes. People here to be baptized where? This is our tour colleague Maria from Hawaii, who decided to be baptized with two of our other companions, also from the US. The person to perform the ritual will also be our companion in the tour. This is our companion who will be doing the baptizing. There were some other people who were not in the tour with us but also wanted to be baptized.
The ritual was very emotional for our colleagues and the others who joined us.
This is a few meters away from our group, which are the Russian Orthodox Christians. The way our colleagues were baptized was just with one backward dip, while the Russian Orthodox was 3 vertical dips. Another noticeable difference with the Orthodox is that they make the sign of the cross up down, right left instead of left right. Babies baptized here were sometimes named Jordan, regardless of gender. The river name comes from Hebrew and means flow down or descend. Jordan's waters are of special importance also for irrigation. It has permitted the cultivation of oranges, bananas, vegetables, and sugar beets.
Welcome you all to Israel and welcome you to Tiberias and to our diamond factory. We are called Caprice. My name is Shani. I will take you now to Siberia, near Russia, South Africa, and South America. Can you guys tell me where do you think most of the diamonds come from? About 80% of the diamonds in the world. After they receive the diamonds, the rough diamonds are sent over to Israel and 2 more places, the Netherlands and Holland, where we do the cut and polish. In China, so I went to an international school. We can see 2 of the diamond cutting and polishing machines, okay? This one here is the old version. It was used during the 15th century. This is the one that we use today. Now back then we didn't have much electricity, so cutting and polishing the diamond was a bit different than what we do today. The job had to be done by 2 people, and it required the job was required to do completely by hand, okay? So the first person would be holding this, placing the diamond on top. And then we place this, is called the tube, we place it on the wheel. And the second person, do you mind helping me?
Oh.
Would just be turning the wheel this way as fast as you can. Yes, so this is how we would polish the diamonds back then.
You do that really well.
Yeah, you do that really well actually. Now,
Excellent.
it would actually
Good
take
job.
about 8 hours of this. Something that still hasn't changed is that while we polish the diamond, we have to place 2 special ingredients on the wheel, which are olive oil and diamond dust. The biggest diamond market for Israel, like you can see, is the United States. But we also export a lot to Hong Kong, Europe, Germany, Japan, and also Belgium. Bracha. Again, mazal. And okay, great. The meaning is luck and blessing. Brilliant cut. It's the most popular cut in the market today. In our showroom, you will see that we have all these different ones. For example, the baguette.
Stone is carefully examined in order to decide how it is to be cut and in what shape and form it will be polished. Using innovative methods, diamonds can be cut and polished in beautiful shapes. The marquise, the drop, the circle, even hearts and other shapes that emphasize their unique beauty. Out, the gold is poured into the resilient hollow using a special device at high temperature in order to preserve the uniformity and strength of the jewelry. Afterwards, the pieces are polished to achieve a sheen, and only then do the expert.
From the second diamond factory in Israel, Shalom to our second DVD, and see you on the third.